All right, today we're going to talk about something in the world of persuasion that feels, well, completely backwards. It's a technique that feels like it shouldn't work at all, but as you'll see, the psychology behind it is absolutely solid.
So let me just ask you this. What if the best way to get someone to say yes was to start by making it incredibly easy for them to say no? I know, it sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? Why would you ever give someone an escape hatch when you're trying to get them on board? Well, that's the paradox we are going to unpack right now. The secret, it turns out, is hidden inside a super powerful four-word phrase. A phrase that can totally shift the entire dynamic of a conversation. It's a phenomenon known as the BYAF Effect.
So what in the world is the "but you are free" effect? Think of it as a little verbal nudge. You make your request, whatever it is, but then you immediately follow it up by telling them out loud that they have total freedom to choose. And that simple little addition, "but you are free," that's what changes everything. You know, the easiest way to understand this is to think back to when you were a kid. Imagine your mom says, "You have to clean your room." It feels like an order, right? A command. But what if she says, "You should clean your room, but you don't have to if you don't want to"? See what happens? The pressure just vanishes. It's not a fight anymore, and that stubborn resistance inside you just kind of melts away.
Okay, so we get what it is, but why? Why on earth does giving someone an off-ramp make them more likely to stick around and agree with you? To really get it, we've got to dive into the psychology of autonomy.
Well, the whole thing hinges on a core human driver called psychological reactance. We are all hardwired with this deep, gut-level negative reaction anytime we feel like our freedom is being threatened. When someone pushes us or tells us what to do, our first instinct is to push back, to do the exact opposite just to prove that we're still in control.
And you can really see the difference side by side. When you threaten someone's autonomy, even by accident, their defensive walls shoot right up. They stop listening to your idea and they start focusing all their energy on just resisting you. But when you affirm their autonomy, when you say those magic words, "but you are free to choose," those walls just come right down. The resistance disappears, and suddenly they can actually hear you and think about the merits of what you're actually offering. All right, so theory is great, but how do you actually use this stuff? Let's get practical. Let's open up the playbook and see how this works in the real world. So, who should you use this on? Well, it's like a secret weapon for two specific types of people. First, skeptical prospects, the ones who can smell a hard sell from a mile away. And second, high dominance personalities. You know, those people who just cannot stand being told what to do.
And here are 3 perfect moments to deploy it. Let's say you're doing a follow-up. You could say something like, "Hey, I'd love to hop on a quick 5-minute call, but obviously you're free to decline if the timing isn't right." Or for an upsell. Most of our clients add the premium package for extra peace of mind, but of course it's entirely up to you. And finally, when you're going for the close. "I've sent that agreement over, but please feel free to take all the time you need to review it." See how that just softens everything? It puts them in the driver's seat.
Okay, so we've hit the what, the why, and the how. Let's wrap this all up with that final nudge, the one big idea you really need to take away from all of this. Look, here's the most important thing to remember. The BYAF effect is not about trickery or manipulation. It is about removing the feeling of being sold to. When you take away that threat of being pressured, you create the space for the other person to actually see the value in your offer. You're not trying to fool them. You're showing them that you trust their judgment.
And that's pretty much the whole shebang. So I'll just leave you with this one question to mull over. In your job, in your everyday life, where can you try this? Where will you give someone the freedom to choose and just see what happens?